Second to the last day of the season, and Z and I made a trip down to the Oahe Mountains and did our last solo hunt and had a fantastic time. The snow was deep, snow was flying, and we had some awesome points, and I got 3 birds out of one group. It was a great trip to end the season. The purpose of this video is to show you how I go about cleaning my birds and freezing them.
The only tools I use to clean my birds are a sharp knife and a pair of pliers. I then wrap the birds in saran wrap and store them in Ziploc freezer bags. I mark the contents of the bag with a permanent marker.
Before I come back out of the field, I typically will gut my birds. Out of the guts, I only keep the liver and the hearts as treats for my pup.
I clean my birds with the intention of feeding the legs, minus the feet, backs, and necks to my pup. This requires that I clip and cut off the feet, wings, and head before I skin the bird. Using pliers, I crush the bones of these parts close to the body. As you saw, for the legs, crush them above what looks like the knee joint. And then cut off the parts that we crushed. Next, separate the breast from the legs and peel the skin from the breast. Now you have a chunk of prime organic meat ready to be washed and stored. The next step is to remove the skin from the parts to be fed to your pup. If you are not intending on saving bird parts for your pup to consume, you can remove the breast before you crunch and cut out the legs, wings, and neck. Simply take the gutted bird and peel the skin back to expose the breast meat. Pull the skin back far enough to expose the wing joints. Once the joints are exposed, simply smash the joints with a pair of pliers and then cut the wings, and you'll have your chunk of meat ready to clean and freeze.
on occasion that you'll take a crossing shot or a head-on shot and you'll damage some breast meat. What'll happen is, this is like even when you're shooting deer and elk or whatever, this damaged meat doesn't taste very good. What I'll tend to do is, if it's just slightly damaged like this piece of breast meat is, I'll just slice out the damaged area and keep the rest of the meat. If it gets to be too much damage on one side, what I'll need to do before I feed that piece to my dog is I'll need to look, typically cutting into the meat, and make sure that all the pellets that may have caused that damage are removed, and then I'll just slice off the other side of the breast for my consumption, leaving that piece on the breast meat to feed to my pup. Okay, once I have my birds cleaned, have my breast meat available, because I eat a lot of breast meat and I'm not expecting to store this stuff to be stored for more than 6 to 8 months, I don't worry about vacuum packing or storing my breast or my meat in those ways. What I'd like to do is I like to dry off the meat a little bit before I use the cling wrap. It helps the meat the cling wrap to stick. And then I'll just take a sheet of cling wrap, lay it out, and not starting in the middle, I typically start a little further down from the corner, wrap in, and roll the bird up to the other corner. Then I can take and fold those ends across the bird. And then all I do is grab a quart freezer bag, slide this couple chucker breasts into the freezer bag, put them back down in there. You can even squeeze out a little bit of the air if you want. Zip her up, and then you have some birds ready for the freezer. The only other thing that I like to do when I'm storing game meat, be it fish, chucker, or elk, or whatever, is that on here I'll write what the contents are and what year I hunted that game. So for this example, it'd be 2 chucker, the 05 hunting season. And these birds are now ready for the freezer.